What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. I have to remake the video I made last time because I had it completely screwed up, and I don't even know how I caught this, how I didn't catch this uh, from last night. So today I'm going to go over what are the benefits of using P, and do you get enjoyment out of it, as well as will you miss watching it? So kind of three things in one, and I'll be going over it in this video. So without any further ado, uh, let's get into it. So the first question I will be answering is, will you miss watching? A lot of people, when they quit, they feel they're giving something up, either a prop or a pleasure, some sort of uh, pleasurable activity, if you will. And the whole thing is, it's not the case. So, how is that not the case? It's when someone quits, generally they use one of three methods. I mean, one of them being easy peasy method, quitting without having any sort of fear or feeling of deprivation or sacrifice. And then another one being willpower to resist urges and to not give in. And if you give in, you're a spineless, weak-willed jellyfish. And then another one is to cut. So the willpower method makes you resist urges and makes you try and stop watching and to give up porn because there's something in it, and so you have to resist its pull and not use it. So this literally puts in for the user's case that this is something valuable and you have to resist it because you're giving something up that's valuable. Something that might be pleasurable, something that might be a prop or pleasure, something of some sort. You're not watching it because there is something. You're not watching it because you're trying to quit, but there's something in it that you have to resist to watch because it is good. And so that framing of mind already puts you at a disadvantage of not wanting to quit because there's some sort of reason you want to still watch. You have to make sure to remove any reason for watching before you quit, because if you don't, you're gonna relapse. All right. Another thing about that though is the relapse part. So once you relapse using the willpower method, because most, if not all, users have relapsed using the willpower method. Eventually, some of them do overcome it and live the rest of their life without it. However, they all still crave one last peak. But generally, they find a different thoughts and perspectives on it and eventually get over it. So, another part about the willpower method is the dopamine aspect. So, despite you giving it up and you relapsing tells the brain that despite trying to quit, there's something valuable in it. So, not only are you telling yourself that there's some sort of valuable thing in this when you first begin by trying to resist or urges, you are putting a possible forbidden fruit syndrome onto it. So what that means is you can't have it because it's bad, but also there's something sort of good in it. You like that little pleasure, or it relieves stress, or you think it relieves something. You think it does something, despite it being bad for you. And so what I've seen a lot of times is a lot of people get tripped up on that, feeling that they are going to suffer the rest of their lives, wanting that last visit. And that's usually a fear that's been built up through multiple times trying to quit. And you only really can remove that once you know pretty much entirely how porn works in your brain. So when your dopamine drops, this is talking about a porn user. So porn, you use porn, and dopamine gets flooded to the brain. That dopamine drops, and then over time, it needs to be filled again. It needs a spike. And that spike can only be provided by porn. But that spike isn't enough to fill that void that's been created by the last use. Because that void gets bigger and bigger each time you use. Escalating genres increases the amount of dopamine that's supplied. But because of the limbic system and how well it functions, it does trim the receptors on how much dopamine you can take in. This is a very well made system. I thank God for it. But this whole system prevents you from constantly achieving dopamine spikes and being pretty much a lazy person entirely. So your limbic system trimming your dopamine receptors means you have to novelty search, you have to edge, you have to escalate genres, watch more, and so on. So then when you do watch, your dopamine drops, your hormones return to normal, and then below for the dopamine, like your dopamine drops below baseline than what it was before you were watching. And so you feel a little bit more depressed a lot of times, and more susceptible to stress and anxiety throughout the day and whatever you're doing. So if you use porn, you're creating the need for the next session. If you stop using porn, then you won't. Eventually, that whole system heals, and you won't need it again. So I'm telling you here, your brain doesn't need porn after a little bit of time. That doesn't mean you have to resist urges. You have to see the urges when they pop up as a thing, a reminder that you quit porn, and every day you're healing and getting better from it. That's for the willpower method. But that also applies to cutting down. Cutting down does the same thing in terms of the dopamine of the forbidden fruit. So the forbidden fruit, what it does, it basically makes you think there's some sort of valuable in it. There's something valuable in porn, which is why you keep watching. And so when you cut down, you go from a week a month down to a few days a month, you're still having that odd session. Eventually, your goal is to quit completely, but you have to make that conscious choice to quit fully and just have that final session. Eventually, just have that one session, that's it. But when you say that, it's easier to make the next session if you have that session. A lot of times, especially for me, when I use that method, it was, I'll justify this one usage by saying it's my last. And then a month goes by and I say, well, I'm doing pretty good. This can be my last session, just to get all the enjoyment out of it. That carried on for multiple months. And in reality, I didn't watch once a month. I watched more like 4 or 5 times a month. Now, did it work in reducing my usage? Of course, absolutely. Cutting down really helped in reducing my usage, but it didn't kick the addiction entirely. Kicking the addiction is the entire purpose of it, of kicking, of trying to reduce your usage. You're trying to kick the addiction. Porn creates the need for the next session. So you can't kick porn by using less and less when its tendency is to use more and more and to escalate genres and go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole and to use it more. If it could, porn would make you watch every single time of the day. Your other side of your brain, your conscious side, the side that has to have reason, won't let you do that, but that's what it wants to do. So it really is a big trap by using the willpower method. It's a huge trap by using the willpower method. I'm not even like it's so bad of a method they've chosen to make. Whoever made it, even though their intentions might have been good, a lot of people spreading that method, and it's a very bad method. Cutting down, it can work in cutting down your usage, but it doesn't entirely remove it unless you make that conscious decision to remove it. Using the easy peasy method entirely removes any reason for wanting to use it. So you have to remove any possible brainwashing that you have from society saying that sex is the most important thing, that you can never live without sex, or that you'll never be able to live another day without orgasm, or that orgasm is the peak of human existence, and all this evolution culminates to that. You can see this in TV shows where sex is very highly prioritized in like overall media. That it's an underlying theme that's what everything leads to in relationships and so on. So having a life without a lot of sex and also a lot of orgasm, as in masturbation orgasm and porn masturbation orgasm, those two cycles, life without those can be a lot better if it's not forced. So if you have a relationship with someone and you have sex, that's fine, of course. I'm not saying that. But after a really bad, stressful day and you guys just want to achieve the mandatory orgasm, you won't want to be next to each other. That's a very common theme for people who have sex in a stressful day. That's just one example of many of why you shouldn't prioritize sex. You could feel so much better if you watch a feel good movie or just have a talk with your partner, for example. But back to porn, masturbation, orgasm here. Porn basically hijacks the reward system for having sex and procreating, because this is one of the higher levels in our brain that wants to have sex to procreate. It's a natural instinct for humans. Well, porn hijacks that and thinks that you're doing that, and so you have achieved a high level. And so your dopamine gets released because, well, it's such a high level of you got to achieve something very well. So I'm sorry about not having correct audio yesterday. I would have preferred to make a different video today. However, I had to recreate this. So I just need to put that out there. Easy peasy method is something I really want to share with a lot of people. It's a very, very useful method. I've used it and it's an entire game changer. Like the switch up from using other methods to easy peasy is night and day. So my whole goal is to help other people use that method and then hope that they share it with other people as well. So with my audio being fixed, I think this is going to be a lot better of a video. And overall, it's a lot shorter. It's like a minute shorter. And so please share, subscribe, like. Even if this is the only video you watch of me, please make sure try and make it your last, if you will, and use the easy peasy method so you never need to watch my videos again. And if you were to watch my videos, it would be for entertainment or trying to share it with other people purposes. If you remove every single reason for you to watch porn, then you won't miss porn. It's easy to do that because every single reason people watch porn is to fool themselves into giving the logical side of the brain a logical reason to watch porn. That's the whole statement right there. The logical side of your brain demands a logical reason for using it. So your brain brainwashes itself into multiple reasons, and you have to remove all those reasons into watching porn. And you have to remove all those reasons before you quit watching porn. So you're watching porn to quit porn. So that's why there's that final session. So that's one point that I will say for a later video. This is one major thing I wanted to talk on because I've had a couple people talk to me about it not being it being hard to quit because there's some sort of thing that I'm still watching because it's useful or I like it, and so removing those is one of the most important things to do. Thank you for watching. I'll hopefully post something tomorrow and post something different and better audio. So thank you for watching, and you all have a wonderful day.